The British Truck Racing Championship 2017 brought to you by Goodyear and Towergate Insurance. Hello and a very warm welcome to a sunny Brands Hatch for the opening rounds of the 2017 British Truck Racing Championship. Well, actually not just one championship, but we've got two. The Division 1 Championship and Division 2 as well. A stunning entry this weekend, as ever for the trucks. Let's go down into the paddock, catch up with some of the gossip and see what's been happening over the winter months. One of the most exciting things coming to the first meeting of the year is seeing the different looks of the trucks that are down for our first meeting. Stuart Oliver, a completely different look. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it was an idea we had 2 years ago, and we were wanting to pursue it, and we didn't get it done. And it was always too heavy. The truck. It was always sort of 350 kilos heavier than our competitors. So to do some big changes and sort of restructure it, as it were, to get it a bit more aerodynamic and get a bit of weight off it.
It looks absolutely mint. A lot of hours in the workshop?
Absolutely, yeah, and rebuilding it with the, sort of with a lot of chassis changes, but also put the Volvo VN cab on.
Well, a great pleasure to welcome back Terry Gibbon to the British Truck Racing Championship, a former champion in Class B. Terry, very warm welcome back, and you're not doing things in half measures. You've gone straight into Class A or Division 1.
That's correct, yeah, back into the big category. So raced in Class A previously, about 5 years ago. So yeah, we've got some good partners on board now and built a brand new MAN from scratch. I've been working together with Unit 8 Motorsport Systems, and between myself and Tim and Melanie and Tom that work there we've managed to create this truck, and then hopefully we're going to be on pace with it. So
a new season often brings new trucks and new form. Certainly one of the most rising stars in the formula has been Luke Taylor, and Luke, qualifying form absolutely superb. Tell us about your day's qualifying.
Well, the day started off just getting used to the truck, getting the feel for it. Found a simple setup, and then when qualifying come, I just thought I need to get under a minute, and I did it. I did what I had to do.
Yeah, there weren't too many boys did that yesterday. Brand new truck, looks absolutely mint. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Oh, it's a Jochenham built truck from Germany. It did the European Series last year. Stephanie Hahn drove it. Finished fourth in the FIA European Championship. So it's a good motor.
So with the number one now proudly, I think, emblazoned on the truck, last year's champion Ryan Smith. What does it mean to have that number one on the side?
Well, it means everything. It means you're the fastest in the racecraft. So yeah, we're the fastest at the minute. Fastest all last year. Not a very good start to Brands Hatch, unfortunately, though. But we'll get there.
So what happened in quali?
We had a spring snap and power steering box fail and power steering pump and so forth. So yeah, we was in the gravel, and then qualifying we was only doing 70 mile an hour on the limiter. We've got a massive fuel problem, so puts us to the back of the grid, but I think we'll be fast.
Ray Coleman, a very impressive performance in qualifying. Happy with the truck? Sounds like you're getting used to it.
Yeah, very happy with it. Qualifying yesterday, we only had a short sort of practice run. Happy with the qualifying. I was third, possibly second, I've been told. No official papers come out as yet, but the worst case, it was third.
I'm with Steve Thomas. Normally we interview Steve with his driving hat on, but today it's as one of the men in charge of truck sport. Steve, what's new in the formula from over the winter?
As you can see, we've got a bigger turnout this year. We've got almost 29 trucks competing for this weekend. We've got some new sponsors on board. We've got Goodyear, which is one of the main sponsors, and Towergate, and quite a few other sponsors. And then we've got near enough 90 show trucks up on the top. As you can see, year on year, it's getting bigger and bigger. And yeah, November here last year was one of the biggest crowds we had for the truck racing. And the weather, as it is today, and hopefully tomorrow it's going to be as good. So hopefully we should see a big crowd again.
Steve Thomas, it'd be good to see him back on track. We've got a fantastic entry as it is, with Stuart Oliver on pole from Luke Taylor, Ray Coleman, Matt Summerfield, Shane Brereton and David Jenkins, Ollie James and Michael Oliver, Ryan Smith way back, Fran Smith next to him, Terry Gibbon and Ricky Collett completing the grid. Here is the view from the Rooster on the outside of the front row. Luke Taylor with, alongside the man who was second in the championship last year, Stuart Oliver. They're coming up towards the start line here. Oliver's already broken ranks and is away from Luke Taylor. Oliver doesn't want second in the championship this year. He wants another title. They go through the lubricant soaking dust on the main straight. Good move around the outside by Matthew Summerfield. And Matt Summerfield in a new truck this year. Very unusual not to see the number 1 on Matt Summerfield's truck. He's back to number 84, which long-term fans of the championship will remember. Behind them it's Ray Coleman in number 2, then Shane Brereton, Dave Jenkins, Ollie James in the bonneted number 22, and then the new livery for number 1, this year's champion, last year's champion, Ryan Smith, but out front Stuart Oliver. Luke Taylor defending from Matt Summerfield at the moment. Here they come then around McLaren into Clearways, which is where they are now, and Smith has already made some great progress up through the field, deals with Ollie James in the Freightliner, the number 22, which continues to be developed by the James pit crew. They come across the line here in the opening race of the year, an absolutely mega entry, as Steve Thomas said. So big is the entry that we've had to split it into Class A and Class B races at times. I guess we'll get to see all of them on track together, but for the moment, such is the entry, with a massive crowd here at Brands Hatch for this 2-day meeting, and the bulk of which will come for the... look at this now, down the inside goes David Jenkins, side by side with Shane Brereton. The pair of them were off racing in India last weekend, and Jenkins, the former champion, blasts his way through. That was a great overtake by Jenkins, the MAN in black, showing how to do it in the digraph machine. And Shane Brereton, who's getting more and more truck racing experience, he's not a born truck racer. He did race in pickup trucks before, raced in the National Hot Rod Championship on the short oval, so he's a very versatile driver, but he's new to truck racing. And he gets forced wide. There's Ricky Collett in his new MAN. That looks absolutely fantastic. What a great livery, and a big slide out there on the back end for Collett, who goes drifting. Ollie James sadly is possibly out of the race. He might, if he gets it, no, he won't get it fired up and away from there. So James is out of it, but it's still Stuart Oliver out front. Fran Smith in the number 4, the Rainbow Warrior truck that you're probably used to being seen in other hands, of course, in the championship with Keith Sandbergen, the Dutchman. But there is Stuart Oliver, who is out front. Ryan Smith's got the fastest lap. Matt Summerfield is on the grass, and of course, rather than throw it away, he goes straight on across the grass. Number 2 truck of Ray Coleman still running well, and Ryan Smith trying to latch himself onto the back end at the moment of David Jenkins. So Ryan Smith has done the most passing so far. Jenkins is being shaped up here for a potential pass by Ryan Smith. Jenkins in turn looking at Ray Coleman. So Smith has come up from row 5 up towards the sharp end of things. Oliver leads, Taylor in second place, Summerfield third, Coleman in fourth place from Jenkins and Ryan Smith. Ollie James has got going again, isn't he? He's moved away from his park-up position, and Jenkins again, he loves overtaking there, he knows how to execute that. Coleman is passed not only by Jenkins, but Jenkins opened the door up for Ryan Smith to go through as well. There is Ollie James, he's a back marker, the Kelsa truck, Kelsa Synergy truck of Stuart Oliver. Wonderful, I love seeing the bonneted trucks, it just adds so much variety to Class A in this championship. As you can see now, Stuart Oliver, the Hexham-based man, is closing down on Ollie James. Going to put a lap on him soon, and that's all part and parcel of the racing. The slower trucks, particularly when we have the A's and B class trucks mixed up, the A class trucks have to deal with the traffic at later points in the race. He deals with Ollie James, who, as you can see from our graphic, is running down in 12th place. And that's good because that puts the truck between the race leader Stuart Oliver and second place man Luke Taylor. We go on board with Luke. Superb view from Luke's Jochen Hahn built truck. Matt Summerfield still in third. And now Ryan Smith ahead of David Jenkins. And then the 17 machine of Shane Brereton, who, despite losing a couple of places, is still very much in the hunt for some decent points. The championship points run 10 points for a win, and then 1 point less for each basis. Down the inside of Matt Summerfield goes Ryan Smith. Barely room was there to go up the inside, but that was good clean racing, and Smith has made up a lot of places here. David Jenkins is going to try and deal with his old mate Matt Summerfield now. The pair of them were away racing in India a week ago. There is the Rainbow Warrior, involved in a very good dice with Michael Oliver. Michael down on the inside of Franz Schmidt. Franz, I think, looking at the possibility of racing that truck a little bit more through the course of the season, which would be good to see. Stuart Oliver still leads, but Ryan Smith, despite dealing with traffic, has the fastest lap of the race. He's already said his target this weekend is to go for the new lap record in this championship, as we watch Summerfield, Jenkins, and then following Jenkins, it's Brereton. Join us after the break to see. Stuart Oliver, the race leader. Ryan Smith challenging for second place. He's on the inside line of Luke Taylor coming through. Druitt, here's the view from the Rooster truck, and you can see from the rear-facing onboard and indeed the front-facing camera that Ryan Smith has gone through. Smith into second, the defending champion from the fifth row of the grid has come through. He's going to have a reverse grid race later on, but this has been a reverse grid race for him. Ricky Collett is being closed down on now by Stuart Oliver. Collett's going to be a lap down. There is Ryan Smith in second, Taylor in third, Summerfield fourth, then it's David Jenkins followed by Shane Brereton. Ray Coleman is still up there in the mix as well, just following Brereton in the 17 truck. Incredibly, everybody's still running in this 15 lapper. That's testament to the pre-season preparation. But remember, the key thing about these trucks is they can't go and test anywhere. The nearest some of these drivers get to testing is racing in the Indian events last weekend, but not in these trucks. There's no way you can come and book a track day or test in these machines. So the testing has to be done really in qualifying. There was this is a 3-day meeting now because of the number of trucks we got. Some of them did some testing on the first day of the meeting, but you can't do it in advance of the event. That's the key thing that I'm saying. So all the prep has to be meticulous in the workshop, and it is. We've just got to see the standard of these trucks. There is Terry Gibbon we spoke to before the start of the race, and Terry told me, in addition to that interview, that he was treating this weekend as a test exercise and bedding the truck in. That's what you have to do if you're building something from scratch. And for Terry coming back to the championship, as we look at Ryan Smith closing in on Stuart Oliver, is he going to have time to close in on the man that he beat to the championship last year? Ryan Smith, I would say no, but you never know with Ryan Smith. There is Ollie James still dicing with Ricky Collett. We've seen everybody in the field here for Class A in glorious conditions. Terry Gibbon runs wide, has a little bit of a flick out, and I tell you what, Ryan Smith here, if he gets a decent run along Cooper Straight, could well perhaps have a nibble at Stuart Oliver by the time they get to the line, in front of the ranks of cars parked up along South Bank, the top of South Bank here at Brands, into Surtees, through into McLaren again. Stuart Oliver will be looking in his mirrors, maybe a touch of defensiveness in the driving from Oliver, but I don't think realistically the Synergy Kelso-man needs to do that, and it is going to be Oliver who draws first blood in the 2017 British Truck Racing Championship by taking the flag from Ryan Smith. Oliver from Smith, Luke Taylor third from Matt Summerfield and Shane Brereton, Ray Coleman in sixth from David Jenkins and Michael Oliver, Franz Schmidt in ninth place ahead of Terry Gibbon, Ricky Collett and Ollie James. Stuart Oliver, what a fantastic way to start the season.
Absolutely, this is where I want to be. Yeah, so many more of them, hopefully. So happy with it. There's a few changes we need to do, but more than happy with it. How we performed. We didn't know where we were with setup, because obviously the sort of the characteristics of the truck is much different to what it used to be. So it's a steep learning curve, but we know we're learning all the time, and hopefully we can keep ahead of the other guys.
That was a mega drive.
Told you, I said if we got free, we'll be fast. We've had massive problems. Speed stuck at 70. I hope I can prove to people whatever truck I get in, I can drive. And Stuart got saved by the checkered flag then, because the brakes was a little bit too hot. But the team has worked tirelessly to get to this stage. Without the team, we are nothing. But I hope I prove to people then that we can race and we're fast.
Matt, how's the first race in your new beast?
It was quite marvellous, to be fair. He's a bit different sitting the left-hand side from the right-hand side, and the gearbox is a little bit different. But no, very impressed, to be fair, mate. It was one thing riding around in the free practice on Friday and doing the qualifying, but to actually put it in a pack and finish where we did, I was really chuffed with it.
What's happened to the trusty steed that took you to all those titles?
She's in for restoration at the minute after a lot of years of being battered and abused. But you'll see her out possibly at Donington, and so she'll be there at Donington, just on display at the minute, and we might do some demonstration and stuff, and hoping to do some sponsor days with it and that kind of a thing.
Last year, Adam Bint wrapped up the championship with one event to spare. Adam, how are you approaching the defence of your title?
Trying to carry on out as we finished last year. Keep strong and consistent all year, and we'll see how we go halfway through the year. If we have to make some adjustments, then we will, but we try to carry on as we start, as we mean to carry on.
John Bowler, second season in the trucks. What was the close season like for you? Are you prepared and ready to go?
Yeah, I think so. We've done a lot of changes over the winter. We had the truck stripped right down. A few improvements, I hope. So we'll see how this year goes on. Same setup as last year. I think we're a bit more well educated in how things are working, the way the truck is. So hopefully we'll have a bit of a better idea throughout the year.
One of the fastest trucks and driver combinations from last year was Simon Cole. Simon, you went out for qualifying yesterday, but the beast is not behaving itself.
No, it's a continuation of the trouble we had last year. We had a new engine put in it, and we had no end of trouble from the end of the season. A couple of the boys from D&G assist to come on this year. They're down here helping us, doing a bit of mechanics, so we're getting more and more help, so it's helping us out a lot.
Joanne, it's wonderful to see you back on the grid in the trucks, and the last time we saw you racing was Donington. We had a nasty accident. How did the recovery go?
It's taken 18 months to get over the recovery, but I'm back today, this weekend.
Are you enjoying it?
I am really enjoying it.
You got some new names on the truck. Would you like to tell us a little bit about who you're supporting?
Scale Guiding, Brownies and Rainbows. They do a lot with the kids with special needs, anything, and it's like volunteers. So we try and raise some money for them so they can go out on more outings and stuff.
Second race of the weekend about to get underway for Class B. The first race of the weekend was won by Mika Mäkinen from Tony Smith and Adam Bint. John Bowler, ahead of Wayne Eason and Andy Lovenbury, rounding out the top six. Remember, this being the second race, the grid is reversed for the finishers. So Brad Smith will be starting on the front with Joanne Eason, Trevor Martin and Luke Garrett row 2, Jim Bennett and John Powell, followed by Wayne Eason and Andy Lovenbury on row 4. Fifth row, Adam Bint and John Bowler, then Mika Mäkinen, Tony Smith, Andrew Fulcher, Paddy Mack, Steve Powell and Simon Cole, hoping to complete the grid after problems with the beast. But we are away racing in Class B, and look at this mega entry for Class B. It may be B as opposed to A, but there is very definitely nothing inferior about the racing provided by these trucks as they head up to Druids for the first time. And it's Brad Smith on the outside with Luke Garrett. Yes, Luke Garrett back in Class B. Very welcome he is too, and even better to see him on track after the accident that he had at the last round here at Brands Hatch last year. You might remember in the cold of November that truck went over on the main straight worrying thing to see, but the team have put together a brand new truck and he rejoins the championship in Class B. Also in Class B is Steve Powell, who was the champion the year before after that great battle with Luke Garrett. And there is Luke in that immaculate new truck, currently running in second position. So massive turnout in this class, which is absolutely superb. And it's John Powell, another front runner from last year, who leads them. Andy Lovenbury up into third place. Now the drivers we've got to watch out for: Adam Bint, who does a storming run around the outside, as too does Mika Mäkinen, the Finnish driver in the Sisu, who is very, very quick indeed. I guess the difficult thing for the truck organisers is to categorise some trucks between Class B and A. Some of them sort of fall between, but Mika Mäkinen's truck deemed as being B, very quick indeed. But that's why we have the reverse grid races. So if someone has got an advantage or having a particularly good day, they have to work their way through in the reverse grid races. Up ahead of Mika Mäkinen is Adam Bint, who we saw having a terrific run there in the bonneted number 5, last year's champion, and back to defend the title this year. It's going to be a big job if he can do that. Lovenbury goes through, followed by Brad Smith and Wayne Eason. Joanne Eason still in the mix as well. Paddy Mack in the ABS 99, now coming under pressure. Remember, Paddy Mack, Paul McCumsky was third in the championship last year in Class B. And there is the Mad Croc livery of Mika Mäkinen. John Bowler at the moment at the head of this field, and a bit of damage there for Brad Smith, the newcomer, who hopefully we'll chat to later on in the programme and find out a little bit more about. Down into Paddock they go, too wide. You'll see cars do that and they'll knock into each other and knock each other off, but the trucks managed to keep an even keel there. Although, having said that, Adam Bint, and it's 3 wide now, going up in towards Drury's with Mika Mäkinen on the inside line. And how they all hang on to it, I do not know. How are they going to come out of Drury's? Mäkinen in front now of Powell. A big flame out there. Did you see that from Joanne Eason? This Joanne's home track. Joanne and Wayne come from Lydd in Kent, and there is the beast, 41, Simon Cole, Dartford-based drivers, even more local in the Cole Truck Sports St George's European Mercedes. Andy Lovenbury straight lines it across the grass ahead of John Bowler. So many trucks. Look at that sideways style there from Cole. That was absolutely superb and spectacular. And that's the reason why people come. They love to see the racing, but they love to see the control that many of these drivers put on the trucks. Look at the back end coming round on Brad Smith's truck, the man from Leicester. New driver in the championship, self-entered truck. The DAF looking good, but John Powell looking good out front at the moment. And is John Powell going to be able to fend off Mika Mäkinen, who is still there working his way through the field? So Garrett still in second place. Andy Lovenbury is in third position at the moment. There is Lovenbury up ahead of John Bowler. John, another front runner from last year, maiden season for him, and he was climbing further and further up the results as the season went on. An extremely well turned out truck. And here is John Powell, the Tunbridge man in the Ford Cargo. And there's Steve Powell, our first look at Steve Powell in the Sisu. And good to have him back in Class B. Side by side then, Adam Bint around the outside. Is he going to hang on to it and gets muscled off onto the dirt? That's a difficult one to get back from for Adam Bint. John Powell leading the second race of the weekend for our Class B trucks, and he's done a sterling job so far. Mika Mäkinen has worked his way through from the back of the previous race finishers to come up into second place, and the Finn entertaining the crowds here with a super drive, but it's still John Powell out front. He's used to winning, he did plenty of that last year. And look at that truck, very well turned out, very good racing lines as well from him, as we pick up on Trevor Martin, one of the front runners from last year. Had some very good results indeed, did Trevor. There meanwhile is Luke Garrett. Andy Lovenbury gives chase as well. And at the back of the group, John Bowler chasing Adam Bint, who recovered from his moment in the gravel and kept it going. And you do get momentum with the trucks to go through the gravel, but nonetheless it is a very, very difficult thing to do. This is the not battle but the chase for the lead. John Powell goes through. Here's Mika Mäkinen, the Finn in second place. Massive gap back to Andy Lovenbury and the rest of them in third. So this race is going to be a straight fight between Powell and Mackinnon. And Mackinnon is counting the laps down before he can close in. Here come the chasers. Paddy Mack's up there. John Bowler's up there as well. But it's Lovenbury at present ahead of Luke Garrett, with the ever spectacular Simon Cole throwing that 41 machine around. Adam Bint in the mix as well. Championship wise, any of these boys could win it, including the Finn, who we understand will be contesting a great deal of the championship, which is super news, and it really adds an international flavour too. And off goes Steve Powell. He's in the gravel. Steve Powell's in the gravel, not a safe place. That is at the very least, I think, going to be a red flag, because we've had the majority of over half of the distance of the race completed. It's not safe to leave it there, not safe for Steve or the other drivers in case anybody goes off. And there we have it, red flag, and I think there'll be a checkered flag shown as well to get Steve, the former Class B champion, out of it, and it means that his brother John is going to take the race win from Mika Mackinnon. John Powell the winner, Mika Mackinnon in second. He gets the fastest lap. Andy Lovenbury next to Luke Garrett, Simon Cole, Paddy Mack, Adam Bint, John Bowler, Wayne and Joanne Eason completed the top 10 and indeed the point scorers. Then Trevor Martin, Brad Smith, Jim Bennett with non-finishes, Steve Powell and Tony Smith. John Powell, first winner of the year, race 2. Many congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Bit of a mixed start there with the staggered starts and the gap and stuff, so I'm happy with that. It's nice. It's been a long time coming over the winter, and nice to get back in behind the wheel, really.
Andy Lovenbury, second Brit, but third on the road, completing the podium. Good race.
Yeah, great. I'm really happy after this morning's saga. I jumped the start this morning, so I got a 10-second penalty, so I thought we got third this morning, but I'm more than happy with that. Good hard race.
Some real pace with you this weekend.
Yeah, well, we're starting how we mean to go on for the rest of the season with a bit of luck.
Crispin, it's wonderful to have such a great traditional motor racing brand name like Goodyear on the ranks for the British Truck Racing Championship this year. How's the involvement come about?
It's come about because we're already involved in the European Series and we're title sponsor for that, so it was really a natural progression from that into the British Series. I think also for us it's growing in popularity immensely over the last 2-3 years, and certainly from our point of view it's now grown to be bigger than the European Series. But we use it as a platform for testing new technologies. It gets tested in extreme conditions and then we have the confidence that it will survive out on the road, and then it gets transitioned. We've had huge progress over the last 3 or 4 years, testament really to the quality and the endurance and the fuel efficiency of the product, which ultimately has been reflected as a result of the development that we've had on the track.
Superb attendance in the show trucks once again. Best owner driver going to Ricky Richardson. Lantern Recovery winning best recovery. Matthew James Removal winning best rigid truck. Best light commercial going to NY Recovery. Charlie Doyle won best custom. Best interior going to Graham Poole. Best classic and restored truck, Herbert & Sons. Graham Poole also picking up best American. The best working fleet, Dastran, and best semi-custom, best company owned, and best in show going once again to Tom Nutt. With Ian Pitt from Towergate, who are back with us again. First of all, thanks for your support this year, Ian. What is it that brings you back?
This is for us, it's the absolute grassroots racing. For our client base, we specialise in haulage and fleet insurance. We have done for over 40 years, and to get a grassroots connection with the drivers and the haulage contractors. If you race a truck, you own a truck, you need trucks to take the trucks there. It's just absolutely our world from start to finish.
You've got a presence, I guess, sort of on the spectator side, a lot of people coming in and connecting with you.
Absolutely, and it's a great way to get hold of them. Come and introduce yourselves, have a drink, use the hospitality. It's absolutely awesome. As with insurance, there's renewal dates that can be 12, 18 months down the line, and we need to get to know these guys and work with them over the next 12, 18 months, 2 years to get a relationship and then start generating some business.
The second Class A race of the weekend saw Ollie James on the front row of the grid. Ricky Collett was due to start with him on the front row, but that meant there was a gap for David Jenkins to move initially into second position ahead of Franz Schmidt, and chasing them was Shane Brereton. Ryan Smith started off the back of the grid and soon got stuck in to try and start passing the traffic. Ricky Collett, you can see at the back of the field. Ray Coleman chasing Franz Schmidt initially as Matt Summerfield and race one winner Stuart Oliver got stuck in. Great battle though up the front between David Jenkins and Shane Brereton, side by side into Paddock Hill Bend. Jenkins, only a brave man like Jenkins would try the outside line. Brereton hangs on to lead position as the rest of the Class A pack follow through. At this stage, big moment there for Ollie James, who clatters with Ray Coleman coming down from Druids into Graham Hill Bend. Matthew Summerfield keeping a look at what was going on there. Summerfield being challenged by Stuart Oliver with Ryan Smith in close pursuit as well. James leaving the door open there for former champion, most recent champion Matt Summerfield to go through and pass James, and then multi-champion Stuart Oliver looking to push his bonneted truck through on the inside line as well, with Luke Taylor behind Ryan Smith as the race continued on. Out front though, Shane Brereton ultimately got the better of things, and he leads here from David Jenkins. Jenkins unable to find the way past. Brereton just taking the Kelsa 17 truck that little bit further ahead of Jenkins. Jenkins was the best of the British drivers in the racing in India the week before this particular event. He had a podium out there, and it was going to be another podium here, but behind Shane Brereton, who came across the line to take the win of the second race of the weekend. Brereton from Jenkins and Summerfield, Michael Oliver ahead of Stewart, then Ollie James and Luke Taylor from Ray Coleman, Ryan Smith and Franz Schmidt in 10th place. 11th went to Terry Gibbon, and sadly a non-finish for Richard Collett.
A super win, and you and Dave Jenkins very closely matched.
Yeah, it was very even. I just had more grip coming out of clearaways, coming to here. I had the inside line, and I thought if I break a tiny bit later, it won't compromise me, and it'll leave Dave hung out a little bit, and it did.
Hi Dave, trading fastest laps with Shane there, and a podium, so not a bad finish.
You know, good start, just a mistake on the first lap. I made a move on Ollie and just didn't get it, pull it off as clean as I could, and then with that, Shane was there. He didn't need a second invite, did he, this morning?
Race 3 for Class A, and after problems in that race, Ryan Smith starts towards the front. We should have had Terry Gibbon on the front row, but he's elected not to start this one, and therefore it's Franz Schmidt on his own. Row 2, Ray Coleman and Ryan Smith, then Ollie James and Luke Taylor, Stuart Oliver and Michael Oliver. On the next row, Matt Summerfield and David Jenkins, Shane Brereton and Richard Collett completing the lineup. The top 10, remember, the only drivers that will score points towards the end of season tally. 4 races, 4 point scoring races this weekend for each class. Normally we have 5, but if you look at the regulations, they do say that the amount of point scoring races will be determined before each event, and 4 races for each class here to cater for the big entry, and that's what the fans want to see. And what Ryan Smith wants to see is clear track ahead of him, which he now has, nipping through on the inside of the number 4 machine of Franz Schmidt. Here's the view from Luke Taylor, who is in 4th place. Ray Coleman snatches 2nd position away from Franz Schmidt, and Luke Taylor's got Ollie James around the outside, Ricky Collett down towards the back. Who really is going to beat Ryan Smith from here, from the front of the grid? Look at that massive sideways moment there from Michael Oliver, who looks down the inside line of Matt Summerfield. Summerfield, a multi-champion, chasing another multi-champion, Stuart Oliver, on board with Stuart now. Here is the truck racers view along Cooper straight into Surtees, the late great John Surtees, that corner named after. And on the grass, Matt Summerfield and Michael Oliver. And Summerfield there A lot of drivers would have straight lined that more, but Summerfield wanted to get back on track, so fair play to him. Round the outside goes the Digraph 69 truck of David Jenkins, but look at this fight we've got going on down the straight. This is what the fans come to see. Luke Taylor on the outside line of Franz Schmidt. Stuart Oliver, I think, wants to go up the inside line. Here we go on board with Oliver. Schmidt grabs the line from Taylor. There's half a gap. Stuart Oliver goes for it, but the way has been blocked by the European colleague. They come up into Druids. I thought for a moment there that Shane Brereton was going to go straight on. How he got the anchors applied, I don't know. Remember, these trucks are limited to 100 miles an hour. Anything more than that, you'd have so much momentum in a big off that it would destroy the barriers. They do enough damage as it is when there are incidents. We don't like to see that. We do like to see the spectacle of side-by-side racing. Through goes Coleman. Franz Schmidt with Stuart Oliver going through. Oliver makes up a place. Welcome back to Brands Hatch, the third Class A race of the opening event of the 2017 British Truck Racing Championship. And we're on board with Luke Taylor, looking at the rear end of number 4, Franz Schmidt, in the Scania. Franz not making life easy for anybody, and why should he? He's earned that place thus far, and he's going to hold on to it for as long as possible. Meanwhile, number 12, Michael Oliver, side by side with Matt Summerfield. And Shane Brereton in 17, the previous race winner, coming up the inside as well and making progress. He won the last race. Remember, this is a reversed grid race, so he starts at the back. Richard Collett still developing his new truck, and off the back of the field, sensible decision from Ricky Collett to start off the back whilst he gets to grips with that truck. Multiple race winner. Michael Oliver again getting a win on the dirt there at the bottom of Graham Hill Bend and going sideways, and now Luke Taylor has the run and makes it past Franz Schmidt. You can see in the rear facing camera he got past, or has he? He's got to go on the grass, and Franz Schmidt's got the place back, and in the process we see that Taylor loses a place to David Jenkins in 69. Ollie James is coming up in 22 as well. Matt Summerfield, and making great progress is Shane Brereton. Shane Brereton, the Tour Trucks Limited entered machine, also backed by Kelser, is running well. He's on the inside line, passes Ollie James. Matt Summerfield goes through in the HRVS but runs wide, and James repays the compliment. Meanwhile, Stuart Oliver has a lunge up the inside there of the number 2 machine of Ray Coleman, and I think he's going to go through. Oliver wanted the place, he wants to get on terms with Ryan Smith, and he bundled his way past. Here is the race leader, Ryan Smith, setting fastest lap after fastest lap and getting away, and Coleman got away with that. Ray Coleman, the Potters Bar man, is still in second place. This is a great performance from Coleman, who refuses to be intimidated by Stuart Oliver. Then we've got Jenkins, then it's Schmidt. 17, Shane Brereton, 79, Luke Taylor. Here we go, then it's chasing them, the bonneted truck of 22, Ollie James down the main straight. Here they come again, and Brereton goes to the outside line of Franz Schmidt. He's going to have to go for the burn up round the outside. Keep your eyes on how much room Schmidt gives Brereton. He knows he's there, he respects him, he gives him the space. They get to the bottom of the hill, they start the climb up, and Schmidt rightly goes for the inside. Luke Taylor's going to have to work his way around the outside, and you can see Stuart Oliver still trying to chase down on Ray Coleman. Here is the race leader, Ryan Smith, comes from Mansfield, the number 1 on the truck for the first time here in the UK. He's running in the European. Look at the number of cars on South Bank that have piled into Brands Hatch to watch this meeting. A huge number of paying spectators coming in to watch some of the very best drivers in the world, certainly some of the best in Europe, as Summerfield looks up the inside of Taylor, tags him, and the back end goes around, but Taylor collects it up. Summerfield comes off the gas, back on the gas again to try and fend off Michael Oliver and get his momentum going again. Four-way scrap. Ollie James is in the mix as well. Michael Oliver is at the back of this little group. It's the key thing about the reverse grid racing, it really does mix things up. Oliver going wide, we've seen him have the back end out a couple of times. He's not afraid to use all the tarmac and a little bit more besides. Ryan Smith still clear at the front with Ray Coleman in second place. This is the battle for second place. Stuart Oliver, we've already seen him try a lunge at Druids. It didn't pay off for him. So he's got to try and work out how to get past Ray Coleman. And I'll tell you what, he's going to be thinking, as we are, how much Ray Coleman has come on. The Lantern truck is literally lighting up the track at the moment as he goes through clearways onto Clark Curve, coming onto the main straight, the Brabham straight here at Brands Hatch. It's a short lap here at Brands Hatch, 1.2079 miles. Michael Oliver will see his dad in the distance as he works hard to try and make his way up the field, but Coleman still holds on to second, and Stuart Oliver now using all the track round the outside line. This could be about momentum for Oliver. Because these trucks are limited to 100, it's about how you negotiate the corners, how quickly and effectively you can brake, and also how quickly and effectively you can accelerate as well. And as you can see, the number 7 machine is all over the back of Ray Coleman at the moment. Out of Druids they come. David Jenkins getting closer to these boys as well. There's no doubt that the battle for second seems to be that they're holding each other up at the moment. And Jenkins is trying to close in the digraph. So we've got Lantern from Kelso from digraph truck. Another Kelso machine and Tour Trucks machine immediately behind them. But Ray Coleman still holding on. This has been a super drive from Ray Coleman thus far. He's getting better and better and better. It's not going to be too long before we see another delivery from the Coleman in terms of a win. It's looking like a podium here at the moment as he crosses the line. What can Stuart Oliver do? Here's the cab view. Down the straight, into Paddock Hill, one of the most notorious bends in British motorsport. Goes to the outside line. This is about momentum down the hill. If there's a gap, and Stuart Oliver used that, that is years of experience up the inside. Oliver, this time cleanly takes the move and grabs second position from Ray Coleman. But Coleman, for all his efforts, he's got another champion breathing on his tail at the moment, and that is in the form of Dave Jenkins. So champions all at the front. Ryan Smith out front, and contact between Dave Jenkins and Ray Coleman. How's this going to pan out? Jenkins very nearly on the grass, bits of truck flying off. Away goes Stuart Oliver, side by side now, and Shane Brereton gets past Jenkins again. Brereton goes through on the inside of David Jenkins. They say if you aren't rubbing, you aren't racing. These boys certainly were rubbing and getting stuck in. What a great bit of racing between those guys. And again, I take my hat off here to Ray Coleman, who's on his way to a podium. Here's Ricky Collett, all the way down in his new MAN, but that looks absolutely resplendent. The HGV Direct machine still pedalling round, and Ricky getting some good laps under his belt, as too is Ryan Smith, who is setting a blistering pace around here. Oliver in second. Here's the battle for third. Shane Brereton there at the moment. David Jenkins wants Brereton to make a mistake so he can go past. Brereton in turn expecting, or maybe hoping, that Ray Coleman will make one. And Coleman, just to put this in perspective, so tough, lap after lap after lap of pressure from Stuart Oliver. Even that lunge we saw at Druids, it didn't faze Coleman at all. And for my money, he's delivering one of the drives of the race in this one. He's been an absolute joy to watch Ray Coleman in this one. Brereton still chasing, but he's got the menace of David Jenkins right behind him. The menacing black digraph truck will put the pressure on him as they go across the line again. But look back down the order, Ricky Collett still chasing hard and developing his truck. He's down in 11th place at the moment, as you can see. Race leaders starting, or the podium drivers starting to catch up with him. We've got Matt Summerfield back in 6th place. Luke Taylor there in 79, he's 7th, followed by Ollie James. Fran Smith is still in the mix as well. James chases Taylor down the hill. It was a great qualifying performance from Taylor, and another driver we're going to expect better and better things of. But there is the Synergy Kelso truck of Stuart Oliver, which is in P2 at the moment, and has had some very good point scoring opportunities over the course of the weekend. But look at the lead, look at Ryan Smith, there he is, he's at Druids. Where's the second place driver? Well, before we see that, we see Ollie James parked up, so James is out of it. But again, look at this, the number 1 truck, Ryan Smith, the reigning champion. He's got clear track in front of him as Ollie James rejoins from the gravel at Druids. Battle scarred Matt Summerfield from Luke Taylor. And here is the third place man, Ray Coleman. You can see that there's, again, clear tarmac in front of him. Stuart Oliver in second position, and these guys behind him forming, do we call it an orderly queue or a disorderly queue? I'm not quite sure. They're trying to get past him. There is Franz Schmidt running in 8th place. Ollie James back, but a flash of the lights from Ryan Smith, who is catching up with the back marker traffic. That is Ollie James, and he's on his last lap. Well clear. He's got absolutely nothing to worry about, but he wants trucks out of the way because he's working towards that record pace. Ray Coleman still heads to the three-way battle for 3rd position, and I reckon he's going to hang on to this podium now. Shane Brereton trying, so too is Dave Jenkins, exploring different lines, trying to get that little bit of extra momentum that might see him pass Shane Brereton. Fine racing between these, but look at Brereton closing up on Coleman. It's going to be a last-ditch attempt from Shane Brereton as they climb up the hill. The Kelson truck goes to the outside line. They clatter, and Coleman again is being intimidated by these other rivals, but he won't have it at all, and he hangs on to 3rd place. Superb stuff from Coleman in number 2. He's been jostled, he's been lunged at, and everything that's been thrown at him he's resisted. Admittedly, Oliver got past. Meanwhile, half a lap clear virtually is Ryan Smith, who takes his first win of the year. Smith takes the win. Oliver's still in second. We've got this super scrap for 3rd place. Here is Stuart Oliver, who will take the checkered flag in 2nd position, and it's all about who completes the podium. To be honest, it would be a great pity if it's anybody else other than Ray Coleman. And here comes Coleman. He takes 3rd place. Shane Brereton is in 4th ahead of David Jenkins. Matt Summerfield was next up in 6th from Luke Taylor. Franz Schmidt in 8th from Ollie James. Michael Oliver, and sadly Ricky Collett, non-finishers, fastest lap, Ryan Smith.
Ryan Smith, what a race, congratulations. New lap record as well, mate.
New lap record, that's what we wanted, but we just wanted reliability. We wanted to finish the race. You know, the mechanics and the guys have worked so hard to get the truck in the state it's in, and you know, I thought I did want the lap record. Of course, we're competitive and we want to race, and I seen a gap behind me and I thought I'll have a go at it. We've proved we're fast and I'm happy.
Ryan was away down the road. You were closing in towards the closing stages.
Yeah, that's right. I saw you had a tremendous good lead on us, and it was, I knew I had my work cut out to try and get up to him, but I could see I was gaining on him, but it was obviously with me starting where I started and him starting at the front, I was up against it right from the start. But I'm happy to know how the pace was, and there's still quite a bit left in the old girl yet, so we'll be able to, I'm sure, get a bit more out of it.
That's all we have time for in our first programme here from Brands Hatch. Join us next time for the conclusion of the action from the opening event of the 2017 British Truck Racing Championship. Thanks for watching, and bye for now. The British Truck Racing Championship 2017 brought to you by Goodyear and Towergate Insurance. Hello and welcome along to Brands Hatch, the second part of the opening round of the 2017 British Truck Racing Championship. The Division 1 trucks have been giving us some great action. We've had different winners in the races so far. Are we going to see more wins though in Division 2 for the Flying Finn? Mecca Mackinnon, let's find out.
So with Jim Bennett and Trevor Martin, one race left this weekend. Sun's out, not been a bad weekend. How's your racing going? Jim, I'll start with you as the older statesman.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been good. Getting back into it. Obviously missed most of last year through a supposed medical problem, which never transpired, fortunately. And looking forward to doing the rest of the season.
How the race has gone so far this weekend?
Not as well as I wished, but I'm still in one piece and the truck's still in one piece, so we can't wish for better than that, really.
And Trevor, so far for you?
So far a little disappointing because the development on the truck is, the pace that we've done it, we're not getting the results of what we wished for. But it's just keep plugging away and see what we can get out of it.
Trevor Martin joins us on the grid for the last race. He's on row 3 of the grid. We've got Wayne Easton and Jim Bennett, then Luke Garrett, Andy Lovenby, Trevor with Brad Smith, then Paddy Mack and John Powell row 4, Adam Bint and John Bowler, followed by Simon Cole and Tony Smith, Joanne Easton, Mika Mackinnon, winner of the previous race, Andy Fulcher and Steve Powell. I think there are a couple of drivers missing. It's been a very physical weekend. We've got onboards with defending champion Adam Bint, who you can see there just on the outside line of John Bowler. Race 3 was won by Mika Mackinnon from Simon Cole and Tony Smith, hence those guys being at the back of the field. And the rumble is underway. Look at Andy Lovenby from row 2. Lovenby round the outside and takes the lead from Wayne Pops Eason. Here's Adam Bint chasing Paddy Mack. Trevor Martin in the 19 machine on the outside, the man we just heard from in the interviews. Binty looks up the inside, but it's Lovenby, Eason, and then in third place going through Luke Garrett. Following them it's John Powell, who we saw win a race in our previous programme. Paul McCumpsky is next up. Jim Bennett about to be passed by Adam Bint. Superb start to things. You can see Tony Smith in the blue sea suit as well. Gravesend based driver. Lovenby gets a wheel on the grass up ahead of Wayne Easton. Wayne, the principal of WDE Motorsport, which runs very successfully in saloon car racing, and this is his chance to unwind and get a little bit of seat time as we go on board with Adam Bint looking up the inside line of Paddy Mack, and that's a tight squeeze on the inside, very nearly hits the pit wall. How did he get through there? My goodness me, he does. And across the line, Adam Bint, well, that's proof that Adam Bint wants to climb up the places. And he's working his way through the field. It's Luke Garrett that he's side by side with at the moment on the run up Halewoods Hill in towards Druids. He's got the inside line. So Binty here should, as he goes down on the brake, should just get that position away. He wants to come through to the back of the field. And he'll look in his mirrors, I guess, and see the mad crop, Mika Mackinnon, the black bonneted truck, who is the points leader here. Barring any major problems or major surprises, should lead the Class B Championship as we head to Petray, which is the second outing of the season. Wayne Easton coming under pressure from Adam Bint. Easton over the grass. Binty still trying to get around him. There is John Powell chasing Paddy Mack. Mika Mackinnon on the outside line. So still out front then Andy Lovenby. Driven well so far. Binty goes up into second place. So Binty working his way through the field. That terrific shot, that's the money shot for me, the one where they come across the line. We have to have a locked off camera there. You can't have a cameraman there, and he's far, far too dangerous. The officials keep people as well away from the trucks as they can. Nobody on the pit wall. If you've seen an accident from one of these trucks, you'll know exactly why that is the case. Health and safety people talk about and tend to rubbish, but you really do need it in this sport. Wayne Easton, it gets physical for him. Paddy Mack goes through, and now Wayne being challenged by John Powell on the outside line. Bit of a lock up from Wayne, he turns in. That was unfortunate. Can't really apportion any amount of blame for that. That was lock up. That certainly didn't need to happen, but John Powell finds himself down towards the back end. Here is the view from Adam Bint, though, still chasing the race lead. Lovenby from Bint, and Paddy Mack is in third place at the moment. Paul McCumpsky really looking sharp in this one. Binty, though, down that inside line. He loves the inside line off clearways, but Lovenby's having none of it and turns across in front of him. There's contact, and Adam Bint backs out of it. Unless a driver would have kept his toe in there, but these boys know it's dangerous to do that. So the contact is undone. Problems for John Powell, who's got rubber. He's going to have to maybe pit and get that taken off unless it flies off. Binty knows he's got to have another go. Now the reason of the urgency, of course, is that Mika Mackinnon, Binty knows will come through, and he knows he's a championship rival. Bint on the inside. Andy Lovenby is still out front. Into pit lane comes Wayne Easton after that contact. That's a shame, absolutely. And down through on the inside on Cooper Straight goes Adam Bint, surely into the lead. Still side by side though. He's got the inside line here into the left-hander. Surtees cuts across Lovenby, and the CMG machine takes the lead. Lovenby down to second. Paul McCumpsky in the ABS truck is third. physical couple of laps. Fourth place is Mika Mäkinen at the moment. The Finn still banging in those fastest laps in his Sisu. Top four all across the line. So Lovenbury, has he got the steam to try and close down on Adam Bint and possibly reclaim the lead before Paddy Mack joins the party, and indeed Mika Mäkinen, who's back in fourth place. You get a summary of how many drivers have made progress through the field. That's what the race fans come to see. Binty at the moment, he's getting away, but not a huge amount. Paddy Mack, once he gets into starting to challenge the 58 truck, that is if he doesn't have to defend from Mika Mäkinen. Once he gets up there and trucks start going defensive, we'll see the race leader maybe start to move away. Mäkinen makes a move on Makumsky, the two Macks together. Through they come, Mäkinen on the inside line. Job done by the time they get into McLaren. So the Mad Croc is up into third place and keeping a very tight line there to try and move up and challenge for second place as we pick up on John Powell, who's looking a little bit less impeded than he did earlier on. So through they go across the line again, and sadly problems for Andy Lovenbury, who's out of the race. So Lovenbury's out. We pick up on John Bowler. John's had a consistent weekend. He scored. He hasn't been as far up as he would have liked to have been, but he's scored points very consistently indeed. And that's what he's going to have to do for the championship as Binty outbreaks himself slightly at Druids. He's going to get back on. He does, but not before Mika Mäkinen goes through and takes the race lead here at Brands Hatch. Mika Mäkinen is perhaps on his way to 3 wins out of 4 and very definitely the championship lead. I tell you what, it's going to be a treat for the Welsh race fans if he makes it to Pembrey. Jim Bennett is still going in 28. He goes through shot. Jim Bennett having a good old scrap here with John Powell. These guys dicing over 7th position at the moment, down through Graham Hill Bend and along Cooper Straight up into Surtees, the left-hander. If you've never seen the trucks before, we implore you to come along and watch any of the rounds. If you Google British Truck Racing, you'll find out the race dates. As I say, we're at Pembrey as our next outing, and Brands Hatch for the opener, and traditionally the finale of the championship as John Powell goes through on the inside of Jim Bennett. John Powell, though, has got a 10-second penalty hanging over him for a full start, would you believe? And Andy Lovenbury had a track limits penalty. So those will be added on to the times. But Mika Mäkinen is out front. Talking of Andy Lovenbury, he is the man just ahead of him at the moment, having got the truck out of the pit lane. He is there, and here comes Mika Mäkinen across the line again and onto the last lap of the Class B finale for the weekend. Now Mäkinen will be the championship leader here. There is John Powell. As we said, he's got a time penalty, Powell and Lovenbury. But John Powell has scored a decent amount of points this weekend. Mäkinen trying to deal with Andy Lovenbury. I would say he's probably going to get past him by the time he gets to the checkered flag. Whether it's going to be here or not, I don't know. He's got plenty of time. He'll look in his mirrors. He'll see Adam Bint still in the distance, about 7 seconds down at the moment, still in second position, so he might see him. But he'll know he can bide his time and pick the appropriate moment to sprint past Andy Lovenbury, who has had podia this weekend. Is he going to make it? It's going to be a sprint to the line, see if he can lap Lovenbury. Here we come. Mäkinen indeed does manage to do it and takes the win in race 4 of the weekend for Class Bs. Adam Bint second from Paul Makumsky, Trevor Martin and John Bowler. Brad Smith next from Jim Bennett. Joanne Eason in 8th. John Powell 9th. Andy Lovenbury, as we saw there, in 10th, the last point scorer. Luke Garrett, Wayne Eason and Tony Smith, all sadly retirements.
Adam Bint, cracking drive, mate.
That was one exciting race.
And obviously Mika managed to get away in the end, but it was nip and tuck for a while.
Yeah, we're going up into the hairpin and I had an explosion of air in the cab. I don't know what it is yet. It's down on boost pressure then, but I'm happy with that result.
Sorry, Paddy, cracking to see you back on the podium.
Yeah, mate, sound. Yeah, it was a good race. Adam kept me on my toes for a bit, like, and I knew we had to make the initial escape early on in the race, you know, and the three of us done that, but we're no match for Mr. Crocodile.
Fran Smith, a familiar name to the championship, a welcome name to us here at Brands Hatch. Great to see you, but in a different truck to usual. What's the story?
Yeah, it's great to be back at the new season. The story is that we are testing for this new season with other team together with Case. We try a couple of dual international racing in the A-class truck Division 1. So, I hope that it will be good, and we see what this year happens.
Final race of the weekend is the last race for Class A. So this is the fourth of their races, and Ollie James, as you can see, starting on pole position. Fran Smith, the man we heard from just now, starting alongside Luke Taylor and Matt Summerfield on row 2, David Jenkins and Shane Brereton on row 3, then Ray Coleman and Stuart Oliver, Ryan Smith and Michael Oliver, followed by Ricky Collett and Terry Gibbon. 3 different race winners thus far. Are we going to get a fourth, or are we going to see a repeat for either Ryan Smith, Stuart Oliver or Shane Brereton? Here we are. Let battle commence here at Brands Hatch. It's Ollie James that leads high and wide into Paddock. Goes Matt Summerfield trying to round Fran Smith. Luke Taylor is there in 3rd or 4th place. Here is the view from Stuart Oliver. It's been a tough and bruising weekend, but it's Ollie James out front. James sprinting away. Ricky Collett down towards the back, so James out front. Matt Summerfield in 2nd. Oliver and Jenkins, the former champions, are on the grass. Jenkins rejoins safely. Luke Taylor's on the grass. No advantage from that as track limits, and all he'll do is maybe upset the owners a little bit with some grass churning, but seriously, you're going to have to expect a little bit of that with the British Truck Racing Championship in town. Fran Smith then has been relegated. Ray Coleman, after that super drive in the 3rd race of the weekend, chases his way, but it's Ollie James coming under pressure here from Matt Summerfield, and surely just a question of time, and Summerfield looks to make the move in the HRVS truck, looks around the outside at Paddock Hill Bend, maybe going for the cut back on the inside. Yes, he does, but James gets across. He's wise to that, Ollie James. He knew that Matt Summerfield was going to try the cut back. Matt Summerfield's forced to the outside. David Jenkins is closing up as well. So Jenkins in 3rd place, Shane Brereton then followed by Ryan Smith, the lap record holder here, remember, after that last race. Then Stuart Oliver, stars all at the front of the grid. And Ollie James maintains his pace. There is Ricky Collett. James then into McLaren. Summerfield's got to maybe keep an eye on the mirrors for David Jenkins behind him. And Jenkins in turn won't make any rash moves because of maybe leaving the door open for Ryan Smith, who's going to come through now and pinch a potential podium position to get alliterative. Across the line goes Shane Brereton as well. Here they go again, ticking off another lap. We have lost a couple of trucks over the course of the meeting, but it's still a very top quality field that this big crowd here at Brands Hatch is enjoying. And Ollie James putting in a sterling role here. The more the trucks seem to get equal, the better the racing gets with games of cat and mouse. You saw that in the previous race with Ray Coleman's superb defence initially of 2nd place, and then that ultimate podium position as Jenkins gets physical with Shane Brereton and goes through on the inside line. Brereton loses a lot of momentum, and Stuart Oliver powers his way through in the number 7 machine, and Ollie James is still there at the front. James the leader. Matt Summerfield in 84 is 2nd. The defending champion Ryan Smith is there in 3rd, and Smith, we know, got the statistic to prove it with that new lap record, is the fastest man of the weekend. He knows it, and he's going to have a look to the outside line here of Matt Summerfield to challenge for that 2nd position. Never easy to pass a former champion, but he still can't do it, and Ollie James still remains out front. This is a brilliant drive from Ollie James in the number 22, the man from Western Supermare, the James Sport Truck Sport with Freygood Bagheera Freightliner, still out front. But now Ryan Smith is exploring the outside line at Druids, and that is a man on a definite mission. The number 1 is chasing the reigning champion, chasing the man who won the championship for so many years immediately before him. So a battle of pride between these two drivers. But remember, Summerfield is in a new truck to him. This is his first meeting in the new truck. Then we've got Dave Jenkins in black, another black truck behind him, which is Stuart Oliver, who had pole position for the opening race of the year, won the first race of the meeting as well. Franz Schmidt still racing on in the Scania, picking up some useful points, and again it'll be great to see him as well as Mika Mäkinen later on in the year as we see Luke Taylor fly past. Not sure whether we will be able to see Franz at other meetings, but traditionally we have European visits for our opening and closing meetings of the season, particularly the November meeting, the last meeting of the year. Such a terrific atmosphere. If it's cold in November, then spirits certainly get warmed up here at Brands Hatch. But Ollie James still out front. Great drive from James. You've got to say that the 3 trucks immediately behind, in fact make that 5 trucks immediately behind, all toying with each other, and that to a certain extent maybe just lifting the pressure off Ollie James at the moment. They're all trying, but they're all pretty evenly matched. Dave Jenkins, Stuart Oliver takes a wide line. Shane Brereton fancies his chances of looking up the inside. Ray Coleman watching that pair, having the dice as well. Remember, top speed is 100 miles an hour, so once you're up to that speed, in essence, you're not going to make up any more ground unless it's under braking or there's a gap or something like that. And you can see how that plays out as they go down the main straight into Paddock Hill Bend. A massive drop. There must be so much energy in those trucks as they go downhill. I implore you to have a track day here at Brands Hatch just to experience the drop away at Paddock Hill Bend. The rest of the circuit isn't too shabby either. It's a great natural track. Here are they coming down the hill. Dave Jenkins still with Stuart Oliver behind him. Shane Brereton in 17. 2 race winners together. Ray Coleman's been on the podium as well this weekend. They go along Cooper Straight, and Ollie James remains out front. And I tell you what, the people who are watching this from just behind pit lane are egging on Ollie James to grab this win. It's going to be a very popular win if Ollie James can soak up the pressure. He soaked it up from Summerfield, but Ryan Smith wants to come through as well. There wasn't the gap. Smith backs off. Cross in front of the camera they come once again. We just dip back. Franz Schmidt running in 8th place. Ricky Collett is in 9th, still behind him. As you can see, Franz having a lonely time of it at the moment in the Scania. But we go back once again to the race lead, and Summerfield is through. Summerfield goes through. Ollie James loses out. Oh, what has happened to Ollie James? He held on for so long. It must be mechanical, and Matt Summerfield leads. So it's Summerfield, who I thought was going to lose the lead to Ryan Smith earlier on. It's Matt Summerfield, the race leader, from Ryan Smith, with David Jenkins on the podium again. Here is Matt Summerfield. Now, can he fend off the man who took the British Truck Racing Championship title from him? We will have to see. This is a brand new truck for Matt Summerfield. It's a brand new experience for him, and this is going to be a test of his mettle as he comes across the line. Here he comes now, still followed by Ryan Smith, just 1.2 miles to go. Smith's got that fastest lap. He will want to have another win. The way it looks at the moment, it's either going to be Smith on 2 wins from the meeting, or perhaps David Jenkins if he comes through, or Matt Summerfield grabbing their first wins of the year and making it 4 races, 4 different winners. How is this going to play out? Summerfield's still there. There's Luke Taylor. He's running in 7th place, but back to the front. Summerfield is holding on. This is how Matt Summerfield has won so many championships. He knows how to defend. He knows how to race. He knows how to attack. He's had to do overtaking. He started 4th on the grid and came through. Ryan Smith, though, has come through from row 5. But Matt Summerfield looks good. Through the Clark curve for the last time, onto the Brabham straight. It's a sprint to the line, and given they top out at 100, it should be Matt Summerfield's win. It is going to be Matt Summerfield's win. 4 winners in 4 different races. A great end to our first meeting. Summerfield from Smith, and Jenkins, Stuart Oliver 4th from Shane Brereton, Ray Coleman and Luke Taylor, Franz Smith, Ricky Collett, and Ollie James sadly non-finisher.
Matt Summerfield, congratulations. What a weekend, 4 different winners.
Yeah, it's been an up and down weekend, to be fair. We've come here with a new truck. I'm sat in the left-hand side of the cab, but we've got to grips with it, like we took to it like duck to water, and we've just got on with the job really. And keeping it consistent is, I'm dead chuffed, and I think we're going to have some fun with this truck.
Second place, another podium, more great pace.
Yeah, good race, but you know, a bit disappointed Matt shoved me into the pit wall. I was all the way up the inside, I shoved him sideways. It's a good job I backed out of it, or there'd have been a catastrophe. Great race with Matt, great race, Dave just behind us.
Dave Jenkins back on the podium again, third place, so some good podium results this weekend.
Yeah, very solid weekend for us this weekend. Great pace, great work from the team, not a bad job from the driver, great truck underneath me, bodes well for the year. Ollie was very unlucky to suffer that mechanical breakdown then. You know, he was a little bit slower than us, but he was doing a great job from what I could see of it, you know, and when Matt Summerfield can't find a way through, then you've got, you know, you're obviously doing something quite well.
Trophy presentations from the final race of the weekend to wrap up the day. The presentation's always a really big part of the weekend, particularly their first weekend of the year. Presentation of Roger Brookfield Memorial Trophy goes to the Flying Finn. Lincoln back at the top point scorer over the weekend. Stuart Oliver leads Class A. Ryan Smith is second from Matt Summerfield and Shane Brereton, with David Jenkins ahead of Ray Coleman and Luke Taylor. In Class B, Mackinnon leads by 11 points from Adam Bint, John Bowler in third from John Powell, Paddy Mack in fifth and Tony Smith in sixth. Well, the sun's going down here at Brands Hatch on the first event of the 2017 British Truck Racing Championship. What a weekend of racing we've had. We've had 4 different winners in Division 1. Division 2, we've got a visitor coming over from Finland and showing the others the way round. Mika Mackinnon leads the table as we head to Pembrey. We hope you'll join us down in Wales for event 2. We'll see you then.